Hi everyone, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra if you're new to my channel. I am so excited today because I am hosting my first ever challenge on YouTube. I am hosting this with Lisa from Lisa & Company. If you haven't seen Lisa's channel, please go check it out. She does amazing things. She does home renovations, DIYs, some trash to treasure. She's always thinking up some really unique and fun things to do. And you'll really enjoy listening to Lisa. She's a lot of fun. I've got Lisa's channel below in the description box along with the playlist link. What we ask you to do for this challenge is to go thrifting, go to a secondhand store, shop your house, but take something and repurpose it into home decor. If you participated in the Trash to Treasure Challenge, I'd like to say thank you. I really appreciate your support and you coming on over to spend some time with me and Lisa.
For my project, I picked up a little console table and a matching mirror a while back. It's been in my garage, and I'm going to start by painting the bottom part and the legs with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. It's going to need 2 coats, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll move on to the top. I didn't need to mask off the red part at the bottom because I'm going to be repainting that too. The 2 coats of white paint are now dry, so I'm going to go ahead and use the charcoal color of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and paint the bottom part. When you're painting little pieces like this and you don't want to use tape, I was a little lazy. I didn't want to bother putting some painter's tape on, but what I'm doing is just allowing the brush to do the work for me. So I'm loading my brush and then pushing down on it quite firmly so it spreads out, and that gives me more control and I get a cleaner line. This piece is something that had already been repurposed. So someone had left the bottom and the top brown, had painted the trim on it sort of a burgundy color, and then had added some flowers to the top of it. So that's why you can see some sanding marks. I had to actually take my sander and sand some of that off because the flowers that they painted on were quite bumpy. The paint itself had quite a few layers, so it was raised up, and I wanted it to be nice and smooth for the technique that I'm using. I only needed 1 coat of the gray, and I'm just making sure that I smooth all of the paint out with some really long brush strokes. My idea for the top of this console table is to use a couple of different shades of gray chalk paint. So the first one was aged gray, the second one was country gray, and I'm using my dry brush technique to give it a weathered wood look. There's a couple of things to remember when doing a dry brush technique. The first is you're always going to want to go in the direction of the wood grain. The second is your brush needs to be totally dry. So even if it's a little bit damp, you're not going to want to use it. You're going to want something that's completely dry, and you're also going to want a brush that is really rough. So the cheaper the better. These brushes I use are from a dollar store. You can also use a little chip brush. The idea is to use a small amount of paint on the end of your paintbrush and then tap it off. So you're tapping off any excess. That's why I'm holding this plastic bowl in my hand. There's always a little bit of excess paint left in the bowl, but if I need more, then I just gently dip my paintbrush into the original paint can and then tap off again on the bowl. With dry brushing, you can't really make any mistakes. If you add a little bit too much paint in a spot, you can just take a darker color or a lighter color and go over it again. Here's the mirror that belongs to the console table. You can see that I paid $6.99 for it, and look at those pretty little flowers. I'm going to need to take those off. So using my sanding block, I'm going to just sand until I have a smooth finish on it and all of the bumps of the layered paint are gone. I used some painter's tape this time just to mask off the mirror itself. And what I'm doing is taking some of the charcoal paint and using that as a bit of a primer. So I am going to be painting this portion white, but I wanted that red not to seep through the white chalk paint. I have had that experience before where something red has come through. The inside portion of the frame by the mirror was also painted burgundy, so I'm using the chalk paint there too. Now that the charcoal is dry, I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and then the end pieces are going to get a coat of charcoal. On the end pieces, I'm also going to be doing the same dry brushing technique that I did on the tabletop. I hope you're enjoying the video. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button. The last step for the table and the gray portion of the mirror is to give it a sealer. The one I'm using is Rust-Oleum Clear Matte, and it is a sealer that you can brush on, so it's a little different than the waxes that you see out there. And I really like this one because it's easy to apply and it really gives a hard, durable finish. I wanted to give the table a little bit of embellishment, so I had this key holder that I got from a dollar store a while ago, and I thought this would be the perfect addition to this little table. It could be used at someone's front door, and you could just use this to hang your keys on. So what I'm doing is just marking the pencil holes where I need to drill the hole. Then I'm going to go ahead and drill the hole and then just screw this in. When I took a look at the back of this frame, I wasn't too impressed of what was on the actual mirror. So it looks like someone had glued a newspaper on there for some reason. And the other thing I noticed was that the mirror wasn't sitting in very tightly. So I just took some of these little upholstery tack nails and hammered them into the wood to give the mirror some extra security. Looking back, instead of taping the mirror, I could have just removed it, and that would have saved me a little bit of headache from where the paint had seeped in between the tape and the frame. So note to self, next time if a mirror can come out, take it out first before you paint. Since I'm going to try and sell this set, I wanted to make the back look a little bit nicer, so I'm just taking some craft paper, cutting it to size, and gluing it down just so it will cover up the newspaper print. I'm using Weld Bond glue because that really has a firm hold, and then I'll just be able to make sure that the paper stays on for a long time. Thank you so much for coming around to see what I'm up to today. If you are new, please hit that red subscribe button, like, comment, and share my videos, and don't forget to click the bell to get notified when I upload new content. If you're a current subscriber, thank you so much for your support.